Alright guys, it's Stephen here on BlueMoonRisingTV and it's the transfer target. But before we go into all the rumours, I want to talk quickly about Pellegrini. If you haven't heard, there's been his first interview since he left Manchester City today. Though weirdly, he did do it in his first team office at City. He sat down with Jamie Jackson and he talked about a whole host of subjects. But mainly, he said that he could potentially walk away from football if he doesn't find a job offer that he deems interesting enough. I know he's been linked to Everton, maybe Valencia. I don't know if he categorises them as interesting enough, but he has talked about maybe just retiring full stop, which is pretty big news for a manager who will undoubtedly be pretty sought after. He also mentioned a few other things. He talked about how maybe announcing the Pep news derailed the season a little bit. What do you reckon to that? I kind of half feel a little bit like he's grasping at excuses. Surely elite professional footballers should be able to motivate themselves enough, but there is an element of doubt with those things, I guess. He talked about David Silva, how he thinks he'll be back to his very best next season because he's still only just 30, which in football terms these days isn't really that old. And an interesting one, he talked about Vincent Kompany, and he was a little bit negative, if I'm being honest. He said he was worried that maybe Vincent Kompany's injuries are a little bit more serious and that there is a slight worry about his longevity as a Manchester City player. I'm a little bit cautious about maybe throwing in the towel too quickly with Vincent, because obviously he's our captain and he's a leader and he's missed the Manchester City. But there is possibly a need for defensive reinforcement. On that subject, John Stones, now Barcelona have allegedly pulled out of the race to sign him. Make of that what you will, but the fee is apparently too much for the Catalan club. It's obviously going to be a lot of money because it's a young English player, and young English players demand this kind of crazy fee. There's talk of it reaching up to 50 million, which is a lot of money for a very raw talent, but that just seems to be the going rate these days. But yeah, if Barcelona have pulled out, that's only a good thing for Man City. It also says a lot that they were interested in the first place, given his technical ability. So it hints that he's a very Pep player, because if Barcelona want him, given they learned their style from Pep, well, put two and two together and it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, anyway, John Stones has come a little bit closer towards the centre as far as I'm concerned. United and Chelsea still linked there, but I'm feeling pretty positive of this one. Elsewhere, and this is the one that's not going away too, Joe Hart to leave City. I just can't see that, and I don't want that. Everton have got a lot of investors at the moment, and their new owner has apparently been linked to a £40 million bid, which is an insane amount of money. I don't want to see him leave, and I don't think he will leave, to be honest. I think people are putting two and two together, presuming because Ter Stegen is linked and a whole host of other goalkeepers, that therefore must mean that Joe Hart will leave. I don't think it will be. I think another keeper that we bring in will be as a direct rival to Joe Hart to try and get the best out of him. Ter Stegen is probably quite fairly linked, given the fact that he's been number 2 at Barcelona. Yes, he's had games in the Champions League, and yes, he's had the very odd league appearance, but he's behind Claudio Bravo, and that's where keepers want to play. They want to play in the league, not just the Champions League. So there's rumours that he might come to City. He'd suit Guardiola's style, given that he's very technical, very skillful. But yeah, I think they'll both be there. But Ter Stegen, I can see happening. But Joe Hart, he's staying in the middle there with a big red ring around him, because he's not going anywhere. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the heartbeats of this club. Elsewhere, Leroy Sané, he's made a little bit of a hint that maybe his future lies elsewhere from Schalke, because he said that he'll make a decision where he plays after the Euros, which is the first time he's publicly admitted that maybe he's thinking about a future away from the German club. Could that be City? Could it be Pep? Maybe, maybe not, but there has been rumours that he's been linked with City since January. But yeah, that's it, Blues. That's it for the transfer target today. Who have you seen linked to City, and who do you want to talk about? Would you let Joe Hart go for £40 million, and would you bring Ter Stegen in? That's a lot of money, but also he's Joe Hart, and he's 10 years at the club now, and he's still one of our most influential players. Do you see John Stones have a long-term future at Man City, and would Leroy Sané bring a little bit of pace to the wings that we've maybe lacked this season? Get in the comments below, let us know what you think. Drop a like on the video, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next transfer target.